What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you all again. Let's talk about Redbox. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment purposes only, so let's be entertained. If you don't mind, you can drop a like. I will get right into the info. We'll talk about the Ortex. We'll talk about what we're seeing and possibly where a bounce could happen again. And everything that's going on as far as that all goes. Let's take a look at the Ortex just to start it off. Estimated short interest percent of the free float, 102.08. Free float on loan, 119%. Shares on loan, 4.23 million. Cost to borrow, 579%. Utilization saying not maxed out. So live short interest, what do we got? 101.43% of the free float, and the average cost to borrow 815% roughly. So got some shorts there. They're back in the game, so let's see how long they want to stay in and play. So what I'm looking at is the same thing we've kind of been looking at for several days now. We're just in this channel. It's not getting enough strength to get out, and our 200 MA on the 5-minute overall is just bouncing right along the top of that channel. So every time it gets there, it's hitting the top of the channel and the 200 MA, and people just aren't throwing the money at it right now to give it enough strength to get up and out of there. So we've fallen through a couple of bounce zones that we were hoping for. So I pulled up the old fib again just to see what was going on there, and I think we have two potential bounce zones that I'm going to be watching for maybe a turnaround. It's going to be somewhere around the $3.80 range, or it's going to come down here to probably the $2.85 range. Now, I don't know. I've never spent a whole lot of time looking at negative beta or anything, but the markets are absolutely ripping, and we are doing the absolute opposite of it. So could there be some sort of negative beta that is affecting Redbox? Maybe. Like I said, I think Redbox is just highly risky, and that's not something that interests a lot of people. You know, you got shorts that are interested, and then you got all you crazy people that are interested in it as well. So it just needs some interest, and as time goes on, it just gets more risky. So this week I think is going to get very what would be the word? Very interesting. I think a pullback is probably warranted because there's more fear piling in as every day goes by. As far as Redbox goes, some of you guys are very confident that it's going to just rip, and like I said, the shorts are very confident that this thing is going to go through with a merge, and they are going to be victorious. So it's going to depend on how many players stay here in the game, what kind of news comes out of that meeting, and where it goes from there. But if we're playing off of the same game, you know, are they really going to let it be that predictable for a fourth time? Maybe. Maybe they will. So be watching, honestly, somewhere around $2 and between $2.75 and $2.94. So I'm splitting the difference and just calling it $2.85. I want to see if that's going to really play out for a fourth time. That'll just be ridiculous if it does, but stranger things have happened. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We do have a couple of more bounce zones in here. I mean, it's almost sitting at this one here around $4 right now. Like I said, I want to see a bounce maybe $3.80. If it falls through there, then yeah, we're pretty much coming back down to play this game, $2.85. If it bases and gets some strength there, I think that would be the run point again if it wants to take off. It doesn't have to. Remember that. It could totally set you up this time. So, I mean, I know we talked about it and it worked out last time, but it doesn't mean that it has to work out again. So just keep an eye on what you got going on. Let's see if maybe the negative beta thing is going to help, and if there is any kind of pullback. I mean, it's kind of been a little bull run in this bear market that we're in overall with the markets, so it could continue. You know, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of money that apparently is pouring back into the market right now, and how long do they want to push that? We don't know. But I would think that some money will probably start scaling off of the table overall. Maybe we'll be surprised because there is an additional month off now. There's no fear about the Fed coming out with another rate hike as far as August goes. So they might see this as the opportunity to really pump some money in, run the markets, capitalize on that for an extended period of time. And then they'll play the game to the downside again whenever the Fed starts coming back out with more information. So we're just going to keep an eye on what is going on with the overall market. We'll keep an eye with what's going on with the meeting. We'll keep an eye on any news that's coming out because we're going to want to know what's going on. We're probably not going to know. Honestly, it's just going to come down to what you guys want to do at the very end, at the finish line. Are you rolling the dice or are you saving yourself? Or are we going to be all the way down here and test this bounce point before that meeting even happens? Possibly, maybe the shorts will do it again. They'll hammer it, cover here, and we'll see a rip and have another nice run before that meeting even happens. At the rate it's falling, it's very possible that could be the potential results overall. If it was falling slower, I would say we may not be able to know if this line gets tested before that meeting, but as quick as it's been falling, we could be testing that. I mean, it's not too far away. It's a day, 2 days, probably 2 days away if it's just going to continue to fall like it has been. What do we got? Somewhere from $5.50 down to $4.25. So $1.25 move in 2 to 3 days. Would that get us down there? Yeah, that would pretty much get us there in about 3 days. So by close of market Wednesday, if it's going to continue this kind of little downtrend that it's in, I would say by the end of day Wednesday we might be able to test this theory and see if it's going to bounce around that between $2.75 $2.94 range. Yeah, that would be great. See them cover, say, Thursday, Friday, see if you get back into a range that is acceptable for your accounts. So sorry guys that I did not get this out on Friday. My career has been getting in the way of my hobby of coming here and chatting with you guys and having a little bit of fun with the markets. But all in all, we're just gonna have to see what happens. Keep an eye on what everybody's kind of saying and doing, because it's gonna have a big impact on you. The people in the play, how confident are they remaining as the time draws closer? So that's what I got for you overall. I guess we could take a quick look at the RSI. I mean, the RSI is not making that turn yet as far as my opinion goes. We're just seeing kind of the downslide on the longer time frames. Even on the shorter time frames, it's trying to peek its head and get a little bit of strength back on the 1 hour, and on the 30 minute it's kind of turning around and getting a little bit of strength. But every time we see this 5 minute kind of just push into the 50-55 range, it just wants to give out. And so don't be faked out. We want to see this thing start to get up and above there and not continue to give out around the 50, 55, 56, and then just putter out. It gets us right enough, high enough to be at that 200 MA, about high enough to try to break out of this trend line, and then it just doesn't. So keep an eye on what the RSI is doing for any kind of sign of a reversal. I mean, it looks like it's gaining I don't know. We're just going to have to watch it. It's too mediocre right now. We might get a little bit of a fake pump to get us back up to this trend line, but I would not jump until you see a clear breakout of the trend line. And even if it wants to come down and test it and try to use it as support and bounce again, before I would even consider throwing any kind of money in trying to average down or anything, because it's just too hard to read right now. See, we'll get those breakouts and then it just wants to fall right back through. It doesn't even stop there for any sign of support. Over here you saw it try to get that support on it, but it doesn't continue that upward run. So you can't be faked out too early in what this one's doing. Just kind of got to be patient and hope that you can find a bottom and time it right whenever there's real strength and a real breakout. So that's what we're watching for. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Thank you so much for coming back and watching another one. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, you can drop a like. You can always subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the updates. I will catch you guys in the next one. And I think I'm one subscriber away from hitting that 200. So who wants to be the lucky 200. You don't win anything at all, but you will at least be notified maybe if you ring that bell. All right, guys. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.